Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 301 of the RRBG podcast. This podcast is brought to you by our good friends at Thunderking Coffee. My boy Dean Tompkins is down there in Costa Mesa air roasting some of the most delicious coffee beans. Listen, I'm kind of a coffee nerd. I spend a lot of time putting together our whole system with a Chemex and the slow drip, and it's a lot of work in the morning. So I make sure that the coffee that I'm drinking is actually really good. I've tasted a lot of them from all over the place, and I have to say that Thunderking Coffee makes the best. My favorite one is the positive morning attitude. I go through 2-pound bags like it's nothing. Check them out. Go to thunderkingcoffee.com and pick some up today. This podcast is also brought to you by Killcliff. Killcliff is making some of the cleanest energy drinks in the market. The Ignite has 150 milligrams of caffeine, all natural, none of that BS that poisons your body. They're sugar-free, and they're actually tasty, because I've had a lot of sugar-free energy drinks that I can't stand the taste. They also have some of the best CBD drinks in the market. Check them out. Go to killcliff.com and let them know that the RRBG sent you. And finally, the podcast is brought to you by our longest supporter, Saints Joints. My buddy Lawrence is out there in Washington producing some of the best top quality pre-rolled joints in the market. The packaging is incredible. Every single person I show them, the little packs, they have a little slide out where you have the 5 joints that are pre-rolled inside. The boxes have this incredible artwork on them featuring artists such as Skinner. Every time I go out, people ask me to give them a pack, and thankfully Saints Joints keeps me supplied. So check them out. Go to saintsjoints.com. Support independent businesses. In this episode, I'm talking to Erik Bickerstaffe of the band Loathe. I caught Erik while they're on the road right now for their final tour before they go to work on their 4th up-and-coming album. We talk a little bit about that. We talk about the direction that the band's going to be taking musically for that album. We talk about the success that the band has experienced in the recent years. We talked about the song Is It Really You and the meaning behind it. And we talked about the scene in Liverpool versus the scene in America. It was a really great conversation. I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure to follow him, specifically at Bickerstaffe on social media. It's at Kirestaf, or follow the band at Loathe as one. If you get a chance, click like and subscribe down there. Follow me on social media. Follow me on social media at RRBG Podcast if you haven't done so already. Check out the Patreon page. Go to patreon.com/RRBG and help support the podcast. Cheers. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the RRBG podcast. Today I'm being joined by Erik Bickerstaffe. Am I saying that right? Bickerstaffe?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
From the band Loathe. How are you, brother?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining me today. I want to start off by saying I'm really bummed out that I missed. You guys were here like a week and a half ago in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Yes, we were. We played the Echoplex. Sold out Echoplex, which is phenomenal. Fantastic.
Yeah, that place is pretty big, too, to be sold out. I mean, I've seen some big bands there, and they don't sell out.
Yeah, man. I think it was 750 cap.
Yeah, that's good.
For our first ever Los Angeles headline show. It's a bit crazy to say that it's sold out. It's definitely a dream come true. Amazing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons I didn't go. I was, I'm an idiot, and I always wait for day of to buy tickets. So I look at this thing, I'm like, oh, sold out. And I didn't know you. I don't like, hey, can you put me on the guest list? I hate that.
No, that's all good. I would have done. If you would have hit me up, I would have sorted you out. But.
It's fine. I'm sure you guys will be back.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. Most certainly. America is starting to feel like a little bit of a second home for us. So
I was going to ask you that. I have that on my list of questions like down the road, but let's just do it now. How is the scene here for you guys compared to how it is in like Liverpool, for example?
It's amazing. I feel like a lot of people here, I mean, most of the people that come to shows really just have a really deep connection to live music, and we just really appreciate it in a different way. And I think, people have seen us so many times in the UK that they're probably a little bit bored of us. So having this kind of new experience, so a lot of people have never seen us before in the US. So being able to come out and to do that, I think it's been amazing. It really has been fantastic.
That's good. And I mean, I'm assuming the crowds have good energy, because there's especially here in Los Angeles, like the crowd, sometimes everybody's so high because there's legal weed everywhere that they're just standing there kind of like in awe of the band, which is fine. But, you know, I feel like your music kind of generates a little bit more energy than just standing there kind of in awe.
Yeah. Well, no, they definitely, I mean, I think there's a good mixture of both, to be honest, especially with Los Angeles. There was a lot of people who were high, I think. I mean, I'm okay with it, man. I think if that's how you enjoy shows, then do what you do. But it was pretty crazy. Definitely had a lot of stage divers. It wasn't they didn't let up on the energy at all. So
that's good. That's good. So it doesn't bother you, like, if the crowd is not really moving, but they're still like engaged, at least that doesn't bother you? Because I feel like I would get anxiety on stage looking at like a stoic crowd, you know?
It honestly depends on my mood. If I'm feeling like fine in myself and confident in myself, then nothing really can affect that. But if I'm having a bit of a slow day or whatever, and then I see people are stood there, like, my mind does wander a little bit to, like, are they enjoying it or not, or anything like that. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of people, I mean, everyone enjoys things differently. And if you want to move, if you want to jump, if you want to dance, or if you want to just stand there, because I personally I like to stand there and watch and, like, observe. But then if it kind of takes over me, you know, I'll dance. I'll, like, move my hips a little bit. But, like, it's not, I'm not one to, like, be in the pit anymore or anything like that. I used to, but those days are far behind me, I think.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
Oh, come on. You still got at least 4 more years of pitting in your life.
I feel 50. So I feel, it might be it might come back. It depends on who it is. You know, like, if I see Meshuggah.
Oh, yeah. Meshuggah does seem to get it out of you.
Oh, yeah. It's one of the most ridiculous bands ever. So, yeah. It depends on the person, I guess. Depends on the band.
So, okay, aside from Meshuggah, what other band would you say is like a big, like, your body just uncontrollably wants to rage? Because for me, it's like Every Time I Die does that to me. I mean, not anymore because they don't play anymore. But they used to. Dillinger Escape Plan used to do that too. Like, it's more of like an uncontrollable urge. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to go mosh. It's just, you just.
No, totally. I would say maybe like Nails does that to me.
Ooh, yeah. Nails is good.
Verge, you know, the band Daughters, when I don't know if they're, like, really doing anything at the moment, but that last album that they came out with was really great. Aside from, you know, whatever, but stuff like that, like, I guess just the kind of visceral, ridiculous hardcore stuff that really, like, gets me, I think. Nice.
Well, I wanted to let's take it back a little bit towards, I want to talk about the album. You know, it came out pretty much right before the craziness, right?
Yep.
That's got to feel terrible, I would think, right? Like, putting out an album and now you can't really, I mean, I know you did a few shows, but, like, you can't really put the pressure behind it that you would if it was a normal, you know, release on a normal time.
Yeah, no, it definitely did have an effect on us. We had a few plans that fell through, obviously, with the whole pandemic stuff happening. We did get to play, I think, 7 shows before everything shut down, and then I think it was 2 years afterwards that we were able to, or maybe 1 year. I don't know. It was a long time, regardless, before we were able to perform again. And it did take a toll on us, I think. But then once you play a show again, it's just like riding a bike. It's instantly, like, I think the first show back for us was Download Pilot in the UK. It was kind of like a government-approved tester for festivals at the time. And there was a lot of really... It was a great showcase for a lot of the more upcoming bands that wouldn't necessarily be given the chance to be in these big stages at Download so early on, and it was a great show. And yeah, as soon as we went on stage, it was just like just overall, just like the best feeling ever again. You know, just being on stage, being where we're supposed to be, fantastic.
Yeah, so that you were saying that was kind of like a pilot program for them in terms of trying to figure out, you know, festivals again. Was it one of those where they had everybody kind of like separated in groups in like individual circles on the field? So I saw pictures of that.
No, it was. I've seen some as well where it was like I mean, and I saw like car festivals where you'd be in your car and you couldn't leave your car. And loads of other stuff. It was crazy. That was more like, I think, European stuff. But this one was just like, this is a festival. I think it was, I'm not sure how many days it was. I think it might have been 2, or maybe 1. But regardless, it was just like a normal festival. There was no like areas where you couldn't go and you had to do this and you had to do that. It wasn't really regulated by anything. It was just, I think it really was to see how things would fare in that environment again, and that was one of the starts to move forward to letting bands play in venues again. And I guess in a normal capacity, there was seated shows happening in some venues where you'd be on like a table in like the dance floor area. It'd just be tables segregated, and you'd have your own little table and stuff. But we were actually scheduled to do one of those shows, but we had to cancel it. But
I see.
Yeah, it was the first, I guess, like start up to go back to normality again.
Okay. You know, it's weird because it is unfortunate that, you know, the album came out right before everything shut down, but I almost feel like everything happened for a reason. Like, that album did really well. Like, it kind of blew up, and I had people from all over the place, you know, sending me links to the album or like a video clip or something. And, you know, it's just weird to think that maybe if the pandemic hadn't happened, who knows if it would have reached those heights, right? Because I don't know.
No, definitely. It's something we think about a lot. And in some ways, I feel bad for saying I'm kind of grateful for it, because I know it affected a lot of people in very negative ways.
Sure, yeah.
It really did kind of help put focus on the work that we put into the record. And it was just a moment where everybody was stood still, basically, didn't have much to do. So they were just focused on escapism, I guess, or, you know, any sort of art that they feel comfortable with. And art, like our album, was there, readily available, and just was easy enough to, I guess, focus on. And it's having that for us was you know, a big thing, because a lot of the time beforehand it was, how are we going to get people to listen? How are we going to get their attention? And it was a blessing in disguise.
Was there anything in particular, like, and this is obviously no offense in any way towards the talent that's in the band. Like, you guys are insanely talented and the music is really good on its own. But do you think there's a specific thing that kind of catapulted the band during that time, aside from, you know, obviously people not having much to do? Like, was there something like a video that maybe clicked and it got, you know, pushed through the algorithm for everyone to see?
Yeah, I think our song "To a Mirror" did really well. I think it maybe partially because of how different it was for us and how different we presented ourselves. It was kind of just a bit more like one of the first times that you could see the band in just kind of like clear vision, and the song, I guess, was a bit more of a pop song. It was like an accessible sort of thing. And also Chino from Deftones shared it, so I think that kind of you know, that kind of like boosted I guess focus on the stuff. He's been a big supporter of us, and specifically that song "To a Mirror," I think a lot of people like saw us from him sharing it, which again is a bit ridiculous, and it's something we're extremely grateful for.
That's awesome, man. Especially, you know, that is the vibe I got. I didn't know about the Chino thing. I got Loathe through a couple friends of mine. I think it was my buddy Joey or something like that. But the first thing I thought was, wow, this is like a newer, fresher, and more exciting like version of a Deftones. Like, for me, like, I was there for the growth of the Deftones from, like, you know, Adrenaline to whatever, like they were one of my favorite bands. So the second I heard this, I had the same vibe. I was like, oh shit, like this is exciting. I haven't heard this in a long time. So that's really cool that, you know, he stepped up and shared it.
Man. It's definitely like something we never expected to happen, because they would most certainly, Deftones were a big influence on the record and on us as you know, just musicians, I guess. And for it to then kind of come full circle and for him to hear our music, let alone share it, was something that we didn't expect to happen, and it was a bit mind blowing when we did see it. So yeah, very grateful for them for showing us love, because they don't need to do that. They're in a position where they can just kind of coast and do whatever they want. But yeah, it's just really cool that they kind of did that for us.
Have you been on? I'm assuming you've played shows with them already.
We've done one festival together, which was Download Festival, which was the first time we actually met, and that was crazy. Like I remember we were on like one of the shuttle buses to and from stages, and we got off, and Abe and Frank were just like stood there waiting to get on the bus, and Abe turns to me and he's like, "Dude, I loathe you," and I'm like, "That's so crazy that like he recognizes us." And then later on, we met the rest of the guys. We met Chino and stuff. And, yeah, it was a crazy, surreal experience. But I would love to, I guess, play with them in a bit more of a large capacity, you know, like touring together or something. I think a lot of people would like that as well.
Oh, yeah. I would like to, you know, I would pay lots of money for a Deftones, Loathe, and Sleep Token tour.
Oh, yeah. That would be
a good tour.
it would definitely be a good tour, yeah.
That's funny, dude. Abe and Frank are the homies. Those are the guys that hang most of the time. Like when the other guys come out too and say what's up to people, but I've hung the most with Frank and Abe because they're the homies. Then, you know, in 2022, you put out, like almost a year after, you put out an instrumental kind of ambient music album, which was, it kind of, like, it was great, but it was like, wow, okay, that's interesting. Like, were those songs that you had maybe worked on for the previous album that kind of you just fleshed it out later, or did that happen just like right after you're like, oh, you know, I have new ideas?
It kind of we had the idea to do like an instrumental ambient record that kind of fulfilled that soundtrack element of the band to a bit more of a larger degree for a while. And I think the pandemic, after the album release, we were kind of a bit like, oh, we don't want to just instantly do another, like, I guess, normal record.
Right.
So it was probably the best time for us to then kind of indulge that idea. And it all came about just during lockdown, really. We were just writing these songs and making it all happen. Then it wasn't anything left over from I Let It In, but it definitely is connected in, I guess, the way it feels, the way it sounds, the theme musically of the overall thing. It's they are connected in that way, but through concept, not so much.
Okay, yeah, I mean that's inevitable considering it had only been like a year or so since you're still kind of in that frame of mind. I'm sure you were prepping for tour that had to get canceled and whatnot, so you were probably still in that same vibe. Because if it was a like, let's say, I don't know, connected to the previous album, the Cold Sun album, like I feel maybe you're out of that frame of mind at that point. You know what I mean? Because it's been a few years.
Oh, most certainly. I mean, it's a similar situation that we're in now, really. It's been so long since we released a full body of work in like I Let It In or like The Cold Sun, that things are different for us already. And for us to kind of do anything that is related to anything that we've done in the past would kind of be a bit phoned in. Like, we'd like to move forward and just expand on what we want to kind of do for the band and how we want people to perceive the band. And ultimately just the music that we want to create, because we're growing up, we're all relatively young, I would say, and our tastes are changing like quite drastically. So you know, things move quickly with us, but then also it takes us a while to get things off the ground when it comes to albums and stuff. So the periods in between are quite large, and then the growth is also like quite substantially because of that.
Well, I mean, I did read somewhere online that you guys were going to start focusing on the fourth album more, and I think you canceled the tour. Did I read that right?
Yes, yeah, we did. Yeah, we spent some time before this tour writing, recording, doing some bits, and during this tour as well, we've been working slowly on stuff. It's hard to be in creative mode and also performance mode. They're very separate, at least.
So back in, you were saying you've been writing the new album, doing bits and pieces, but you're not. It's kind of difficult to maintain the creative and touring set of mind. But it's interesting because I've heard from a lot of I guess it's bands that are like on the road all the time. They have to write on the road. So like there's some bands that you know, they end up just working on the album while they're on tour. And I don't know. I find that very hectic. It sounds crazy.
It definitely is crazy because, at least for us, the way that we write music is like kind of obsessive, and we need to be in a specific mood to then kind of like output that mood or whatever, you know, like it needs to kind of like link up, and it needs to be the right time and the right space and all this sort of stuff. We're quite, I don't know how to describe it, but that's kind of like how we are. It's very much like capturing lightning in a bottle. But we're trying to get used to this new way of working because, you know, we're not so well versed in touring thoroughly throughout, touring in this capacity throughout the year. So it's baby steps. We're working our way towards being able to do both. Because it is, like you say, sometimes it becomes a necessity. Like we don't have the ability to be in those spaces and to have the time off to really get in those zones. So we're learning gradually, but it's taken us a long time.
Well, to kind of touch on what you said about how you're kind of growing, you're getting older. How's your taste changed as you've gotten older? Because some people tend, as they get older, they start to listen to more melodic stuff, a little more like softer or slower, jazzier. For me, it's actually been the opposite, where I've been like getting darker and heavier for some reason, like nice. digging into some like real death metal, and like I'm just like before, you know, I used to not like it when I was younger. I was like, this all sounds the same, but now I'm just kind of, I don't know. So where are you at in that sense, and how is that affecting the album? Like the newer songs, do you feel are leaning more towards like a melodic vibe, or like where are you at with that?
I think what you described is kind of like hit the nail on the head, like the whole melodic stuff, slower, jazzier, like pretty spot on.
Okay.
I'm just like, it's affecting the record in a way of everything. It's similar to what we did on the last one, really. Everything has a very specific place. I guess when we were younger, we would just kind of write, and it would be like, boom, done, just any idea, just instantly, like, fine, it is what it is. Very surface level, which is fine. I think, especially in heavy music, I think it's integral to kind of capture the energy of just like spontaneity and just instant, this is heavy, this is making me feel whatever. But I guess as I'm growing older, I think melody is becoming a bit more of a focus for me. And I think maybe for the rest of the band as well. Just having like chords can be heavier than breakdowns to me.
I had that question. I'm like, what do you consider heavy?
Yeah, well, it's definitely, dude. Some like My Way by Frank Sinatra is heavy. Like that is
okay.
It's a lot. It's a lot to unpack musically, and it just has such a deep resonating effect with me. And I mean, I'm not saying that we're going to be writing songs like My Way, but Who knows? Who knows? Maybe in like 10 years we'll be complete ruiners. But
hey, it happens. I mean, look at there's certain bands. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but there are bands that completely change their sound. Like I'm assuming that's also something you got to consider when you're writing this music. Does it? Does it affect you to think like, oh, this is going to piss off the fans that we're going a little more melodic, or is it, or vice versa?
It's definitely something that we think about. Something that we're feeling the pressure of, I think, after having, like, I guess, a critically acclaimed album, trying to follow on from that. Again, after a long time, things change monthly, never mind like 3 years. So it's something that we think about. But again, ultimately, we're doing what feels right for us, and hopefully people come along for the ride. Yeah. But I guess if you think about it strategically, you don't want to alienate people completely. So the things that have gotten us to this point, we're definitely never going to disregard. And I think it's also where we come from. So it's never going to be incorrect for us to, to be a heavy band. We're always going to be a heavy band. We're always going to have the elements that we have on our letter and the elements that we have on the Cold Sun. That is just part of the DNA of the band. I think the goal really is to do that and then some, and then expand on the then some, and then just keep progressing where it becomes a lot more detailed and refined. I think that's the goal when it comes to writing new Loathe music, really.
All right. That's exciting. Speaking of melodic songs on your album, because you do have a nice balance. That's one of the things I really like about the band is the balance, because that's one of the reasons I avoided death metal before, was that it just felt like one loud, fast thing. There wasn't a lot of, what do they call that? Dynamics, I guess. But your music does have that a lot. Like there's highs and lows, and specifically the song, Is It Really You? It's one of those that like really just tugs at your heartstrings, if you will. And that's my wife's favorite song. Like she's the one, after my friends showed me the band, like she's the one that came at me with like, check this out. And I'm like, oh shit. And it like really, really changed my perspective on the band. And I wanted to ask you, because I looked up online a few things, and there's like, writings, but who knows what's real or not. But lyrically, that song is very, very heavy. Was that, based off of a loss of a loved one, or is there anything that you could, unpack there for us? Because, I mean, the success of that song alone, like you see you guys released I don't know if it was a collaboration or a cover with Sleep Token, and other people as well have been picking up on it and, releasing their versions of it. So what is it about that song that you think led to the success of it? And also, can you unpack a little bit about, the subject matter?
The song is about the loss of my grandma. She was a big influence on me to be a good person. And it was a lot of reflecting on, childhood with her, and being able to appreciate that in later life, and be fond of that after you can't spend any more time with them, remembering the good times and being fond of that, and remembering the imprint on you as a person. And I guess it's just, I think it was we were in the studio in a single cottage, and I think I was just really going through it, and just feeling it really bad, and it all kind of came out in one night, really. All the lyrics, and I think we actually played a show in between, and we were on the way back, and I was writing in the van, and as soon as we got back to the cottage, I just said to Sean, our drummer, I was just like, come on, we need to do this. I've got this idea. I've got it down. And I think we did the first verse that night, and the second day, the day after, we went back and finished everything. And yeah, it was nice. I think as a whole, I mean, specifically that song, but the record is very personal for us, more so than it has been for anything else. We never would have considered song. I mean, we did in the first ones, but it wasn't so blatant. It wasn't so obvious. But yeah, that's what the song's about. And it's funny because a lot of people see it as like a romance song, like
right, yeah.
you know.
I had heard
But
that.
yeah, but it's it's just about hopefully meeting again and being able to say like did all this, like, you know, hope you're proud of me, all that sort of stuff.
Is it hard for you performing that song every night? I mean, have you gotten to a point where you're past it, kind of like, you know, triggering some kind of heavy emotions and just getting through it in the show?
It's been hard like a few times, but mostly now I try and just see it in a really positive light, because when we do play it, Kadeem, our singer, he sings the chorus, and it's just so amazing to see him singing the song and then to see everybody singing back to us, and just the positive impact that it's had on a lot of people. When that song starts, it's definitely a highlight of every single show.
Nice.
And it's, yeah, I just tend to like smile throughout all of it now, because it's also just a reminder that, you know, we're doing something good, and I just know that she would be proud of it, and she'd probably be happy that it's, you know, dedicated to her, about her. So
that's awesome, man. I'm you know, my condolences for your loss, but it's awesome that, you know, you're able to change, you know, because it could be heavy, and it could, you know, potentially it could be one of those songs that if you let yourself kind of take it as a heavy thing, you may not even want to play it live anymore. You know, I've found that happens to a lot of people. Like, I don't want to keep bringing that up. And so it's really great that you're able to see the positivity and the love in it. Cause yeah, I mean, that's how I see it. It makes me, it's one of those weird songs where like, I'm sad, but I'm also happy. Like it's I don't know. It's a weird and very, very rare thing. So,
yeah, no, awesome. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Yeah. It's I guess very melancholic song, you know.
Melancholy, yeah, that's the word.
It's nice though. Yeah.
It is nice. So now you're on tour. You're currently on tour until I guess near the end of December.
Yes, I think the last show is the 17th of December.
17th, okay. How much time are you guys going to take? Or when's the next tour after that?
I think we have things planned for early-ish next year. I know after this, it really is like finishing the record, getting that fixed up,
crunch time.
You know, I mean, it's been crunch time for a while, but yeah, no, it's definitely that's the main goal. We're going to not do much until that's finished, because we tend to overload ourselves with either shows or, you know, anything else, and we're just gonna make sure that we do the main thing, which is the music, because that's what bands do. And yeah, come back right out of the gate with a new record, basically. But I think early-ish next year is probably when we're going to be touring again.
Nice.
But we'll see.
Nice. All right, so if you were to be able to pick a couple bands to go on that tour with you, who are some of the up-and-comers that maybe you would want opening for you? Or is there like a big band that you want, obviously aside from Deftones that we talked about earlier, but you know, is there who would you want to tour with?
So the band that we're on tour with right now, Static Dress, they're like some of our best friends from back home.
Nice.
That would be my go-to answer, because it's always been like, who do you want to tour with? It's always them. But luckily, thankfully, we're touring with them now, so that's amazing. But I would regardless, I'll add a few more, but I would implore people to check them out, because I just think they're a fantastic band, fantastic people with an amazing future ahead of them. I think aside from them, there's a band called Black Midi, which I'm in love with. I think they're really amazing. This guitarist called Mansur Brown, I think he's amazing. I'd love to tour with him. And the Strokes.
The Strokes?
Yeah. I'd kill to tour with the Strokes. They're one of my faves.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, that's a completely different vibe for the audience, but it'd be a fun tour. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
now,
definitely. Well, I mean, both Mansur Brown and Black Midi also are also not really metal. They're not. They're heavy again, but not in the distorted guitar chunks sort of way.
Yeah.
But,
well, I got to check them out for sure because I haven't heard them before. But okay, what's your favorite thing to do when you reach a new city in the United States? Like, where do you go exploring? Do you go get records? Like, what's your thing?
You know, I'd love to say that I do, because I really want to. Like deep down inside, I am like, I need to see everywhere, and I need to experience everywhere. I need to experience everyone's local cuisine. Like, I need to go to all these vintage shops and stuff. But like, even this tour, we're on a bandwagon, which is amazing. I have beds and stuff. Like, I just haven't. I just haven't done it. I've just either been chilling on the bus or, just about the venues. Like, yeah, I need to start doing that a lot more. Just because it's cool. It's so cool, man. Not a lot of people get to even say that we've been to America, or let alone like all the places that we've been able to visit on this tour. We did another tour. We visited different places. Like, it's definitely a blessing. It's something that I definitely don't want to take for granted, and I feel like not exploring is taking it a bit for granted.
All right. Well, so what are you doing when you're chilling on the bus? Like, are you just, scrolling, doom scrolling as people call it, or are you watching TV? What are you doing when you're chilling?
Doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling.
Yeah, definitely doom scrolling, and also just like, I guess, just shooting the shit with the guys. Like, we've been hanging out a lot this time, which is nice. We've just been like, because we're in a different environment. It's not like a van where you're so close together and you have no personal space. Like, we have the ability to have our own space and have like a little area where everybody can chill and we can cook.
Is it a bandwagon or a bus?
It's a bandwagon, yeah.
Bandwagon, okay, cool. Yeah, those things are nice.
Dude, we've never had anything like that before. We've done one bus tour, but that was with 5 bands sharing one bus.
What? Oh God.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
I think it was 5. I think it was 5 bands.
Oh my!
Was it 5 bands?
Sharing a bus with one band is too much.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah, it's been fantastic, man. We've honestly, the bunk makes an unbelievable amount of difference. Just being able to, get off stage, freshen up, and go to bed. It's so crazy to us because we've never had. We'd have some instances where it's like, oh, we got a bit more money this time, we'll get a hotel, or oh, we've got a van with some bunks in it, but it's like makeshift bunks. Like, the bandwagon is like a step up. It's crazy. It's so great.
That's awesome. And that's going to hopefully doesn't spoil you. Now, if you do end up having to do another van tour, it's going to be terrible.
Exactly. I know. I did say that. I think the second day we had a bandwagon, I was like, I cannot go back to a van now. I have been spoiled.
Yeah. It's,
but,
you
got to
taste
do what
the
you
comfort.
Yeah,
so is there
exactly.
any city in the US that you have not played that you are kind of wanting to? Like, is there like Vegas or something that you haven't done yet?
We did Vegas on the Code Orange tour in April, which was really good. We did, we wanted to go to New Orleans, but we went to Baton Rouge instead.
Okay.
I guess I think someone told me that it was like because Baton Rouge is more like jazz blues oriented. Like, it's not really that big for metal or like any sort of alternative music sort of thing. So, but I guess New Orleans is one that we would really love to go to. I'm trying to think.
New Orleans is quite a party. I mean, I haven't been there in years, so I don't know if it's still
imagine.
as party as it is now, as it was, but it's
I can
crazy.
imagine.
It's crazy. Bourbon Street is crazy. It's there's a place in Florida like that in the Keys, the Key West area is kind of like that, where it's just party all the time, people on the streets, bar after bar. It's crazy.
Yeah, we're in Tallahassee right now, actually.
Oh.
And we're playing Tampa tomorrow, I think, at the Orpheum.
Oh, the Orpheum is a great spot. I like the Orpheum.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the venue, like the road that venue's on, or like adjacent to, is, well, at least when we were there in April, it was awesome. It was like, it had so many shops on it, and it was so lively. There were so many people there. I think there was like bars all across it, and it had like loads of decorative stuff like across, like joining the two sides of the street. It was cool. So excited to go back tomorrow. That should be really cool.
Hell yeah. Tampa's a good city for metal, too. They love their metal over there. I know that.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So, okay, I already asked you what you were listening to. I mean, I guess what you're listening to currently, since I asked you who you wanted to tour with. But, like, the Black Midi.
I mean, yeah, I think their new album, Hellfire, has been on repeat. The new Arctic Monkeys album, The Car, has been on repeat for me. It's a fantastic record, I think. Yeah, I think on this tour I've been listening to Who Wants to Live Forever by Queen a lot.
Okay.
You see what I mean? Like the difference in like I would used to listen to like Slipknot and stuff, and now I'm like Queen.
Well, you were younger. I mean, you're still super young, man. 26. Like, I don't even remember what I was doing when I was 26. I know I was on the road touring, but I would just blank memory of all of it, just drinking and partying like an animal. So I don't remember most of it. So I got to tell you, like, I'm excited to hear that you're 26 because that means there's a lot more years of great music coming from you. That makes me happy.
I appreciate that, man.
But you need to stop acting like you're a 40-year-old man. What are you talking about quitting moshing and listening to Queen? Like, settle down.
Yeah. I'm moving a bit too fast.
Slow down, man. You're good.
Yeah. I need to preserve my youth, definitely.
That's right. It's just, just keep I don't know. I'm not doing the Just for Men thing, but just keep yourself looking young and feeling young. You'll be fine. Well,
I'm trying my best.
Well, we're almost at an hour, so I'll let you go. I know you got stuff to do, I'm sure. So, I want to thank you first of all for taking the time. I know we tried to do it a few weeks ago and we couldn't do it. So I'm just glad we got it done.
Yeah, man.
Let everybody know. I mean, I would tell people to follow you on Instagram, but you only have like 3 posts.
I do, yeah. Still follow me. I'm quite active on the stories, I think.
Oh, okay.
But follow me on Instagram if you want. It's my name backwards and then a bit of my last name. Do you want me to spell it out?
Kirstaf, Kirestaf.
That's it. That's me. Follow the band on Instagram. Loathe1. Loathe1 across everything: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything. That's kind of like our mantra.
Loathe1. So you want everybody to be together in their loathing?
Yeah. See, this is where the problem lies with the name Loathe. We're not influencing hatred in any way, but it's one of them. You kind of got to deal with it now. We got to deal with being called Loathe.
No, I mean, if anybody's watching this and listening that hasn't heard the band yet, you need to check it out. It's something that if you're a fan of just heavy music in general, Deftones obviously if you're into them, they're a good, band that has influenced them, but anything just heavy and melodic. The melodic element is so powerful in the music you guys create that it really does make you stand out from the rest, because a lot of people don't do that, the balance that I was telling you about. So if you haven't checked out Loathe, please go check them out immediately. Thanks again, brother Erik, for spending some time with me.
Thank you.
I'm hoping to catch you at the next tour. I'm, again, very sad I missed it last week, or a week and a half, whatever it was. But hopefully I'll catch you when you're on the run next time.
100%, man. Yeah, definitely. I'll get you a guest list this time.
All right, brother. Take care. Cheers, and enjoy Tampa.
Thank you so much. Will do.
All right. Take care.
Take it easy, man.
Cheers.